Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to Office Hours. Thank you so much for being here. If you wouldn't mind, if you have a question, go ahead and start typing them in. I am going to spend a minute here trying to goof around with my new, I'm trying that, I posted a video in the Facebook group today about the tool that I'm using, the software that I'm using on my phone to try and turn that into my webcam. And I think I might not have it set up correctly yet, but I figured I'd give it a shot here real quick to see if I can do it. And if I can figure it out here fast, we'll give it a test. Figure why not? Let's see here. I'm not sure if the app is picking up on the camera. It doesn't look like it is. No, doesn't look like it is. I will figure that out at a future date. I'll give it a shot. Figure it out some other time. But I am excited for the possibility of that. The camera on the Mac here, is not HD quality, which is such a bummer. Had I known that, I would have gotten the iMac Pro instead of the iMac that I got. I got a brand new iMac, figured it had an HD quality camera. I honestly didn't even think to check. And it turns out you had to buy the iMac Pro to get the HD quality camera. So I'm going to get that figured out so that I can use my phone for HD quality for these calls. So that when we post them up to Facebook or YouTube afterwards, it's a little bit better quality. So anyway, I hope everybody is doing well. Welcome to Office Hours today here, and we will get cruising. Thank you, Robert Jackson Jr. Good to see you. If you have questions, type them in. This is a no agenda call other than your questions. So don't expect me to get up here and be smart about anything. If you don't have questions, we'll sit here and stare at each other. So if you have something, type it in or raise your hand and let me know if you'd like to be on camera and talk, or at the very least be unmuted and talk and ask whatever question you have. And I can do that as well. Otherwise, like I said, we'll sit here and stare at each other, and I will play around with my camera settings to see if I can make it work. Question. All right, Timothy Miller. Perfect. Let me.
Hey, Mike,
There you are. Hey, you unmuted yourself. Perfect. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. What can I help you with?
So I have a question regarding the videos that you make and you put in your Teachable account.
Yes.
What is, do you have a list, or can you point me to a list of the equipment that you use to create those? I know I took one of Billy Jean's classes a while back about Facebook ads, and he had a list, but I can't find it.
I do have a list. In fact, I have a, let me pop open my little to-do list app here, and I will create a little list of to-dos here from this call. So yes, I have. I actually have a course out there that's a little bit dated that I will give you access to. That is a collection of the things that I use. And I can tell you though, my list is very easy, which is I use my iPhone for all of my videos where you see my face talking to you, where I'm full screen. If I am using, or if you see my face on a presentation as well, so it's the presentation and I've just got the little circle for my face, then I'm just using that with the camera on my computer. And that is that's my iMac. And then I'm using ScreenFlow as my software for capturing my screen, for capturing my face, looking into my computer camera. And then for editing any video I take, I use ScreenFlow. And then I have these, Timothy. That's a Studio Pro LED light kit, which are like $150 for the kit on, or maybe not even that much anymore, on Amazon. And that brand in particular is just the brand that I found that was inexpensive, but I'm sure well, I have no idea if that's a good brand or not. It's been perfectly fine for me, but it's just an LED light kit that's got the turn dial on the back so that you can adjust analog. You can adjust the brightness of the light. So like right now I've got one back here. I'm going to turn down a little bit. So I'm a little bit flushed out there. So but that's it. And then I've got a tripod to hold my iPhone, and that's a Polaroid tripod that's like $20. But that I love actually because it expands. One, it's relatively lightweight for the size, but it's very stable. It's very robust. Some tripods that you get are flimsy. You take them out in the wind, they'll blow over or even break. This thing is solid, and it has the little crank handle on the top so that it actually expands like another 2 feet above the tripod height. So it goes above my head height by a significant amount. So there's no scenario where, it's going to be too short for me. Whereas a lot of tripods are, like 50 inches. And so if you're standing and doing a video, it's either going to be pointed up at you or you're going to have to put it up on something or whatever to get the full height. That's it. That's my entire video setup. And like I said, I'm happy to give you that access to that course that I have.
Cool. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you bet. Let's see here. Next, fire away. Anybody who's got a question, you're welcome to put your hand in here, and then I'll grab you that way, or you can just unmute yourself. Let's see. Mike Chapman says, has enough interest been expressed to develop a roofing contractor website, or preferably snapshot? Mike, no, I haven't had. You're the first person who has brought that up to me. What I would recommend, honestly, is that if you go into the HighLevel group and you're looking for a snapshot that's like an industry-specific snapshot, I would recommend you just go into the HighLevel group. I know HighLevel may not have it, Mike, but there's somebody in the group that does. So go into their Facebook group and ask if anybody has a roofing contractor website or snapshot or whatever available. There'll be somebody in there that will sell that to you very inexpensively, that has probably done all the homework already of, gussing up a real pretty site and landing pages and things like that that are specific to the roofing industry. Probably be the fastest, most affordable way for you to get that done. Cool. Let's see here. Richard, you said sent links to the Facebook, Mike, of those things that because we spoke about it before. So you're saying, hold on, did you send me stuff to look at? Is that what you're telling me? Ooh, hold on, I got some people to let in here. Oh, cool. Richard's saying sent me links to the lights and stuff because I had sent those to him before. Awesome, thank you. Perfect. Let me cut and paste these bad mamma jammas in. Yeah, Timothy Miller. I just had this conversation with Richard, who's on the call here, just the other day. So he gave us all that good stuff. So I can just share it with you here real quick. If I can get back to there we go. So those are links. Ooh, it looks like I may have broken some of those links with the cut and paste that I just did there. I'll get those to you, Timothy, afterwards. All right, let's see here. So Derek Barron says, who's using HighLevel and has a website template that can be used to sell HighLevel as a white label? In other words, for my ability to sell my niche, healthcare, I want to use a template to be front-facing for my app.domain.co site. So there's that, Derek, there's that guy in the group. It's Fair Patel, I think is his name, Ferpatel. He seems to be all about selling snapshots and selling, yeah, GHL experts and selling like, some of the technical enhancements to make things look good and have some, cool features and things like that. I would recommend checking with him. Um, and I think that, he will most likely have something for you or be able to point you in the right direction. There's a few guys that have started making a business out of selling the snapshots and the website templates and stuff, which I think is awesome. Again, um, I would love for them to dial in all the technical bells and whistles and stuff like that for you guys as they possibly can. That's not what I want to do. So highly recommend you check it out. Let's see here. So Lance says, I took my product pyramid from yesterday and broke it into two pyramids, one PPL and one retargeting traffic. Is volume of leads per week what you would use for pay per lead? I have them connected to HighLevel for lead nurturing. Yes. So Lance, yeah, I would. I'm just trying to think. So the first thing that you did was you broke it into two pyramids. I would, test that, Lance. The thing that I would hate for you to do is overcomplicate your message to that audience. Like, I don't know how sophisticated they're going to want to be in understanding like the difference between pay per lead and retargeting and all that type of stuff. So test it. My concern though, and my recommendation would be that you also might want to test again, keeping it in one pyramid and just having things blended together, but then offering that initial retargeting service that you have, that $100 one, just offer that as like your foot in the door service. Like you can keep it out of the pyramid. Have the pyramid be your signature system, the thing that you want to be able to present for simplicity, for clarity. We don't want to overcomplicate that. And then if you have to have the $100 thing separate, that you say, hey, here's my pyramid, and what I can do for you to get started is this $100 thing, then that doesn't have to be in the pyramid. So if you could have just one pyramid and we generate appointments for you, right? And we do that through a combination of retargeting and cold paid traffic, but that's all one system. I would encourage you to give that a shot, because I think the simplicity of that message and not having to explain somebody the difference between cold leads and retargeting and all that. And let me tell you the other reason why that's good for you is that retargeting and reactivation of anybody who's already been to their site, whether you paid to get them there or not, right? It could be existing customers and stuff like that. That reactivation, whether it comes from sending text, email, or retargeting campaigns, is always going to be more cost effective for you to generate that activity than cold is. So if you have them blended together and you're able to get all of that activity, let's say you promise them 25 leads a month, but you're able to get 20 of those leads from the remarketing side, and then only 5 you have to get from cold traffic, your service is just going to get much more profitable, right? And they're not doing those things anyway. So if you blend those things together and you're just able to say, hey, we have the appointment booking service for your business and we do it through our proprietary system, then you're going to have the ability to potentially squeeze out much better margins. And again, I've done this in the past, and I do this as an example, with Air San Diego with my media site. So with my media site, I sell packages that a certain amount of traffic is guaranteed to their content. Okay, so we're going to publish a really good article about your business, blah, 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 and it comes with a guaranteed 10,000 views. Well, those 10,000 views I can generate through my Instagram account. I can generate them through my Facebook page. I can generate them through my newsletter. And then I can make up for anything that I still need with Facebook ads. So I'm completely in control of it to make sure I always hit that number. But I have 3 traffic sources that are dramatically cheaper than the 4th. And so if I have to turn on the 4th, I do. Sometimes I don't. because the content we create for them is good enough, it's viral enough, it's a topic that's interesting enough, all that type of stuff. Or I can just use my email list is 25,000 people, and my Facebook group and all that type of stuff. My Instagram stories get a ton of views. So I can do all of those things to get them the traffic without having to pay. So you could take that same approach and you're going to have a much more profitable service. Might take you a little bit more to figure the ins and outs. So awesome. Good, Lance. Cool. Let's see here. Derek says, I'm putting together a design pickle type service for my niche where I'm just going to offer 3 tiers of content services on a monthly recurring basis. I love that. However, some campaigns might want to bring me in as an IG consultant for a few months prior to an election. Would you recommend me setting up consulting service tiers for 3 months, 6 months before an election, or just not do it at all? And if you said, yeah, do it, how much would you recommend I charge? Okay, cool. I would say if you can provide that service in a very scalable way so that it's not a distraction from you growing the other side of your business. And I would say if it's going to add significant margin to your business, then it's certainly something to consider. So I know there's a lot of ifs and buts and stuff in there, but let me just say that if your first primary service, your content service, you can offer to, you find your market, you got your marketing and your message and your sales process down so that you can add those customers consistently, and that's going to be a very high margin service, really nice service. Then you could, you could not want to do anything else because everything else will be a distraction and a waste of time. So I'll give you an example. When I was doing Kutenda, my Kutenda service packages, my average customer was maybe, let's call it on average, $297 a month, $347 a month, something like that. I had some a bit higher, many that were lower. And I was getting asked by that industry to do consulting all the time because I positioned myself as one of a couple of, marketing gurus in that space by that point. And Kutenda was blowing up and had a ton of visibility. So the only service that I offered at all was $5,000 one day. You fly to my office. I'll have you in a conference room with a whiteboard, and I'll strategize with you. And it was $5,000 a day, and I would bring in as many as 3 people at a time. So a $15,000 day. Even that, I only rarely did because even at $15,000 a day, it was a bit of a distraction, ROI wise, from just focusing on what I was doing and doing that better. So there were time periods where it was like, okay, yeah, we could use the extra cash hit, why not? Let's book some of those days and stuff like that. But it was only done, kind of like when we really wanted to, goose some extra cash real quick. So you have to look at it from an ROI perspective, Robert, and that may change over time. Maybe to start while you're getting these services cruising, you go, yeah, I'm absolutely, going to take those jobs. In terms of how to price them and structure them. So you're working with, politicians to help them get elected. I have done nothing in that market. And so I have no clue at all, like what that looks like and stuff. But I would suggest that I would not do something less than like a $5,000 3-month, gig, $10,000 6-month, whatever, like that type of thing, and just make it like that's it. That's the package. You pay for it up front. And for that, you get X, Y, and Z over that period of time and make it very structured. So during that time period, we create this content strategy. We post this content for you. You get one call every other week, for 45 minutes to do a consultation, like that type of thing. But I would make it super structured. Hey there, Janelle, we got you. You can maybe hit mute here. So Robert Jackson Jr., that is the way. Hold on again. Let me find her and mute her real quick. but that's the way I would structure it, and I would just be like super deliberate about it like that, because I think anything else, and you're going to end up, like causing yourself more problem than it's worth. So that would be my recommendation. If you want to chat on that, I can see that you are unmuted, Robert Jackson Jr. So if you want to chat on that a little bit, let me know some more details. I'm happy to. Or actually, you're muted now, but if you want to, just unmute yourself and we'll chat. And yet, and I'm sorry for the tiers, Robert. Yeah, absolutely. You can still do the tiers, and it would just be, yeah, it would be like a, base tier, 5,000, 3 months, you get this. Second tier, 7,500, 3 months, you get this. Third tier, 10 grand, 3 months, you get this. That type of thing.
Yeah, I unmuted myself. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. That's what I was kind of thinking of. In this space, if you're running for, let's say, Chicago City Alderman, your funds may be limited. But if you're running for Illinois Attorney General, you have millions. If you're running for senator of any state, you got millions of dollars at your disposal. And some of that money, obviously, is what I'd want. As a consultant, yeah, they can bring me on. I've been approached. Hey, why don't you come and join the campaign? We've got 3 months to the election. Those kinds of things. And I was wondering what the pricing structure would be, because I haven't really done any of that. I was just approached by a couple of candidates and a couple of elected officials.
So yeah, okay. So in terms of the way I would approach it is I would have, again, like some tiered packages where over 3 months, and if you go to Inside Services at Scale, Robert, I actually give an example of how I would structure Instagram services where it's like monitoring, growth and management, or I can't remember exactly how I structured it, but I could see a very valuable service for you, for them, would be a base service where, hey, all I'm going to do is do content strategy and create all the content for you and make sure it gets posted on a schedule for you. That's it. So you're just going to make sure you got good stuff getting posted regularly, blah, blah, blah. Second tier would be, I'm going to do that, plus I'm going to manage community for you. So all of the comments and stuff that come in on all the content, all the people that are, asking questions about this and that, I'm going to make sure that we have a management structure around that, so that when you're running around doing all your meetings and all your presentations and stuff, somebody's taking care of that community and responding back in a timely manner, so you don't look like a doof, right? And then third is like some sort of outbound growth strategy associated with that as well. So third tier, I'm gonna do both of those things that I said I'm gonna do, but I'm also going to be doing this campaign of growth strategy to try and get you as much visibility, as many followers as you possibly can during that window of time. And so then I would charge those tiers for that. And it sounds to me like politicians are a lot like, just nonprofits, which I have worked with a lot of nonprofits. And I got to tell you, nonprofits are much better customers than typical small businesses, because they have money, they have budgets, and they have to spend it, or they lose that money and they lose those budgets the next go around of funding. So they're actually much better and easier to get good chunks of money from, because they actually have a budget. They sit down with their funders, each year, and they go, hey, look, I've put together my budget. I need $5,000 a month for a social media manager. I need, $1,000 a month for website updates. So they actually think about all that stuff very deliberately, whereas most small businesses never think about that. They never do a budget. They're completely reactive. So the nonprofits, they get funded. They get a chunk of cash from somebody who's funding them, and they have to spend that, because next year when they go back, they don't want to give up that money, right? So they go back and go, yeah, look, we spent our social media budget. Please, give it to us again. So it sounds like politicians kind of have a similar thing going on, where, and certainly, like you said, for those bigger positions, I'm sure they have funders that are like, look, just spend the money, dang it, get your voice out there. So if you can appeal to them, and maybe that's maybe that's what you do, Robert, is you have those 3 tiers, but then you also have tiers based on market size and kind of position. So, hey, you're the hometown, running for sheriff, that's this package. You're in a community of, 100,000 people or less. And then this is the major market. Hey, you're the somebody running for something of Chicago. Yeah, you can bet, I'm going to charge you a lot more, and there's going to be a lot more to go with that too. So it makes sense.
Another difference between they are very similar, politicians and nonprofits, but one of the differences is if you're a politician, this is not just an election; it's a competition. Because if you lose, you're out of a job.
Yep.
If you lose the election, you got to do something else. So they're literally forced to put all of their chips on the table.
Yep. Go for it.
And go for broke.
Yeah. It's literally about buying votes. I get it. I mean, I know a couple of smart marketers. Well, you guys know Brian Anderson, I'm sure. He got himself elected down in Atlanta for their school district because he knows how to do marketing. And I know other professional marketers that have sold their services to politicians to make sure they get elected in local markets because they know how to do marketing. So it's a big market. I get it.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you. Let's see here, Matt Gordon, go for it.
Hey, Mike, pleasure to speak to you. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about the digital agency market, and I'm really having a hard time analyzing where the market is in terms of ability to spend money. As I've had some conversations with about a half dozen, digital marketers, I find out that they're much more in kind of the biz op world than people like me. I've been at this now for a decade, making a living at it full time, but a lot of them just aren't there. They're kind of in this thinking about it. I'm looking for my first 1, 2, 3, 4 customers, or I'm looking, I got them and I'm not really happy with them because I'm not charging enough, or, what have you. And so I'm trying to figure out how to analyze that market, because I've got like a content service that I would like to provide them, but I'm still in the phase of seeing if it's something that's actually going to have legs and sell.
Yeah. Well, I would totally agree with you that the digital agency marketplace is full of biz op mindset and buyers. I would absolutely agree with that. So look at that. That little call came in. Hold on one second. That little call came in and it triggered. Interesting. Just showed that using my iPhone as the camera is now available, but it's not available in Zoom for whatever reason. Anyway, so yes, it's absolutely full of that marketplace. And it's funny because I've been in this space for a long time, and I actually went through the frustration of kind of pulling out of servicing this market for a while there because of that reason. I was like, man, there's not a lot of people in this space that are actually running a business, and it frustrates the heck out of me. And a big reason why, unfortunately, is because that there has been a lot of information marketers that, when some of the excitement around e-com started fading, what they did was they jumped in with courses talking about, oh, well, it's just so easy to get, you could sell 1 million widgets for, 50 cents margin each, and you still wouldn't make as much money as I make when I sign one $5,000 a month client. And so all kinds of biz op people then just said, oh, well, all I've got to do is just become a high ticket consultant or coach or agency and just start selling those services. Not realizing that if you're going to build any sort of business in that market, it takes being committed to the business. It takes building systems, processes, team, all that type of stuff. And it is, no matter what I teach you, no matter what anybody else teaches you, no matter what fancy snapshot and automation you buy, and we talked about this last week, from HighLevel, it is a boots on the ground sales business. And I don't mean boots on the ground as in you got to be out knocking on doors and stuff like that. I just mean you got to be in it, selling. It is a sales business. The service side of things needs to be as automated as possible so that you can afford to do as much selling as possible if you want to build in this industry. Make no confusion about it. It is a sales business where the service needs to be good enough to maintain customers.
Well, I feel like, and maybe some of your experiences will bear this out too. But what I've seen in a lot of businesses, not just anywhere near what we do, right, is that there's the business like people think you're in versus the business you're actually in.
Yep.
You know, and that seems to be just as true here as there. So where I'm at with this, Mike, is I've got sort of a licensed content service. So don't think like content delivered, think like Gartner research, okay? And it's all about building authority in your market as a marketing expert using, stories from history, marketing histories, case studies, all that kind of thing. And when I talk to the people that are, I don't want to say immature in the business, but they're definitely more at the beginning than farther along, they're kind of like, oh, that's nice. Like they're not getting it. They're not processing that if you really want to sell confidence to your prospects, you need to be in like the smart person business. You've got to be trustable, if that's a word. Trustworthy. That's
trustworthy. There you go.
You've got to be trustworthy. Good word.
We knew there was a word there.
You've got to be trustworthy, enough, through your knowledge to be able to do that. And they're not getting it. So I'm thinking, all right, so I want to go after maybe the marketing agency owners that are writing books, that are trying to get speaking opportunities, that are showing up on podcasts. But I don't know if that's enough of the market for me to really serve. And I don't have the skills to evaluate that to find out.
I would say in the agency space, no.
Okay.
Honestly, no. I would say if you wanted to take that same framework and apply it to the expert space, I think that there could potentially be a nice size market for you there.
What do you mean by the expert space?
Well, the expert space is what ClickFunnels is selling to. What Russell Brunson is selling to is,
okay.
I'm going to make you an expert, and teach you how to sell your expertise. So he's broadened what he's selling so that it's for anybody who wants to be an expert in anything, whether it's fitness, politics, marketing, cooking, anything. So if you are able to somehow or another broaden your frameworks to be, hey, you're somebody who needs to position yourself as an expert and develop influence and be trustworthy, and here's the framework and service to help you do that, then I would say that that's potentially a real nice market.
At one point I went through and I got a list of all of the 2 Comma Club people and all this, and I just went through one day, website after website after website. That was a depressing experience. So many of these people were so disorganized and their websites were so spammy. And it's the picture of the guy sitting on a cliff over the ocean, typing on his laptop and all this. And you're like, oh.
That's what we do every day.
Well, yeah, right. Well, I moved to San Diego and got a tan.
Yeah.
Lost 20 pounds, put on 30 pounds of muscle. That's okay, right. Well, I think we're done here. So
all right, cool. Well, yeah, if I can help in any way with that, beyond that, I will. But that's my 2 cents worth.
Cool.
Let's see here. Dave Woosley, go for it.
Hey, Mike, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Looks like you've been sneaking out getting haircuts, buddy.
Hey, you know what? This one is 100% self-administered.
You did pretty well.
Not bad, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I got 2 questions.
Yeah.
Back on week 1, you were talking about customer retention, and you said one of the things you did to retain customers was you sent them a daily report card of what you had done for them.
Mm-hmm.
How did you generate that report?
Very manually, honestly.
Oh,
And so, to be clear, it was not what we had done for them individually. It is how we performed as a company collectively, which makes it much easier to generate that report. So, in that particular business, it was so I was referring to in that particular segment the IT industry, and so the things that we evaluated ourselves on were did we miss any calls that day? Like if an inbound call came in from a customer that needed help, did we miss any calls? Anybody have to go to voicemail? Did we pick up within 2 rings? Did we solve their problem on the first call? Did How did they rate us? So after every single call, we had a little customer service survey that popped up that gave them an opportunity to rate us using the Net Promoter Score method. So all of those things were captured every single day. We had to go and just pull the data from our phone system, pull it from our survey system, and then we had a daily scorecard, which was literally just a spreadsheet. And that daily scorecard every single day, we have a column for the day, and then we have a bunch of rows for each of those metrics, and we put in our number. And then if we were within our goal range, it got a green. If we were, at risk, it was a yellow, and if we were out, it was red. And so we published that thing on the web every single day publicly. We would broadcast the spreadsheet so that people could go and look at it.
okay.
So that was the way that we did it. In the marketing business in Kutenda, we did not do that because it was a different business. What we did was we did a regular report to each customer that was somewhat manually generated, somewhat automated, and got more automated over time. Where in that particular case, we were sending them a report that was just a little one sheet thing that said, here's all the things that we did for you this month. But most of that was just like boilerplate because our service was boilerplate. So we published these 4 blog posts. We published this newsletter. We sent it to, X thousands of your subscribers, which we just pull that right out of their database. Your blog was viewed this many times. Your website was viewed this many times. You had this many keyword searches, but again, just like super boilerplate for each customer.
Okay. And then my second question is related to email. I have a number of websites that I'm managing / working with,
Mm-hmm.
and I wind up trying to keep track of maybe 12 different emails coming in at different sites. I want them all filtered to me and be able to answer them in an expedited way, kind of an organized way. And I've done that in the past with Thunderbird.
Mm-hmm.
And is there a better way or an easier way to deal with all the email?
Well, so I don't know what Thunderbird is. I'll just tell you the way that I do it is I just have the Google, the Google Business Service.
Okay.
And then for every email that we set up for any business or anything like that, they're all just set up in that way. You set them up as aliases or whatever. And so every domain, every email that we set up all flows into one inbox, so we can see them all in one inbox. And then if they are any of so I have my personal addresses for every business, and they all flow to my personal inbox.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have business addresses, and those all flow to Help Scout, which is our help desk ticketing system, which is very, very just like email centric. Like, I don't know if you've ever used it, but it's essentially just like an email inbox, but also has ticketing capabilities. But it's very much meant to just be used as email. So a ticket is really just your email comes into me, it gets a ticket number, but I just respond via
I'm living the dream too. I just
that type of thing. So that's the way that we do that. So all the business addresses flow into Help Scout, all the personal ones flow into my inbox.
Okay, thanks.
You bet. Let's see here. Kathleen, I have not looked at that ticket yet, so I will You tell me, Kathleen, if you want me to pull that open and we talk about it right now. That's totally up to you. If not, I'll respond to it outside of this. Mike says, with websites as a service, what we're really doing in our relationship with service clients like plumbers is renting, leasing them a website service because we do not design websites and export them to the client. Correct. Yes, Mike, that's right. That's right. So, and let me make sure that there's a clear distinction between the rental website business or service and the websites as a service. Okay, so the rental service, you build your own asset, you own it, you own the domain, all that type of stuff, and then you're just literally renting them the use of that site as an additional property in addition to their main site, just to help them get more visibility in the search engines. You know, you've got another asset out there that's generating leads, getting visibility, all that good stuff. If you're providing websites to the client, as in, you know, we're going to give you a website as your main website, the website as a service concept, yes, instead of you spending $10,000 to get a new website designed, or $5,000 or whatever it is, and then having to pay ongoing maintenance for hosting and all that type of stuff, you can just get one of our sites turned on as a service for X dollars a month, and that includes the hosting, that includes the maintenance, that includes all those things, and you're saving yourself that big upfront cost. So that's all it is, and the more you bundle into that website as the core service offering, the more attractive it is, right? So what I mean by that is, if you include call tracking numbers, lead generation campaigns, those are all part of our website, because our website isn't just a website. Our website is a lead generation, customer generation system. It is the foundation of that system. So every website includes our smart number, our lead gen campaign, our, you know, blah, 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 all included on there, our chat widget, you know, all of those things to enhance the fact that this thing could be your number one tool to develop business. But right now it's not, Mr. Small Business, because you've got this brochure that you paid $7,000 for that's just sitting there. Okay. So that's the idea. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, Kathleen, sounds good. Dustin says, I'm trying to get my GHL with my LMLA brand, but struggling to keep it from becoming a results-focused offering. If I offer GHL campaigns like a smart number boomerang as a way to capitalize on our LMLA promotion, am I setting myself up for failure if, when a business has few calls come in from our campaign? I'm probably overthinking this. Do you mind sharing how you're coupling their San Diego with GHL? Yeah, Dustin. So I got to tell you right now, I'm not really yet, because their San Diego is, you know, pretty darn quiet right now. So I'm not entirely focused on that, but I can tell you what I'm going to do. And so what I'm going to do, what I'm rolling out here pretty darn soon, is a variety of different things. So let's talk about the smart number concept in particular, and maybe we can get on, you know, happy to unmute yourself and we can talk and stuff too. But so for the smart number concept, if I were to create some ongoing, you know, campaigns for a customer where they are getting content and visibility, traffic from my campaign, and it made sense for that to have a phone number with it, then I absolutely would have a phone number with it. Now, I'm saying if it makes sense, because as you were pointing out, you don't want to get somebody focused on it being a lead generation thing if it's not a lead generation thing. So if I'm just publishing a nice article for them and I'm promoting the heck out of that article, that's much more of a branding piece than it is a lead generation piece specifically, right? Unless we have like a call to action on there and all that type of stuff. So what you can do though with lead capture, with the voice, the smart number, with texting, is you can absolutely create a service that is more of a lead generation service for these businesses and use all of those tools to capture the leads in as many different ways as you can, so that you can show them the impact of the campaign. But if you're going to do that, make sure that it's actually a lead generation campaign, right? Like you're putting out a coupon or or whatever it is, where you're actually deliberately trying to drive results like that. And that is more of a results focused service for sure. So then, Dustin, and so let me I want to clarify, because I think activities versus results oftentimes gets a little bit confused in what I mean there. So activities versus results. What a lot of agencies go out there and do is they try and pitch the result of, I'm going to grow your business, I'm going to make you more money, things like that. Like that's the ultimate result that a business owner wants from your services. And so they go out and pitch those things where they don't have control over any of the variables. So I'm going to make you more money, and I go and generate a whole bunch of leads for you, and you don't follow up on them, and I don't have control over any of that. And so now my service looks bad because I didn't make you more money and grow your business like I said I was going to. Well, but that's your fault as a service provider for making that pitch. Those were the wrong results. The right result is, I'm going to generate you leads or appointments. And you can prove that. Now, Mr. Business Owner, what the heck do you do with those leads and appointments? That's your business. I can't, at some point or another, if you're going to run the whole business for him, then, you might as well just get into that business, right? So, but if you say, I'm going to generate leads and appointments for you, that's a perfectly good service. It is a result. But that's a result that, especially with the LMLA scenario, Dustin, you can control essentially all the variables now that you have HighLevel. And so that's the thing that's so powerful about having your own asset, is you create all the lead gen campaigns. You run them through your brand, your asset. And then you have a client, a location that you set up in HighLevel now, so that you can put the smart number, the lead tracking, the 7-day follow-up sequence to make sure that you make the most out of those leads when the small business that you're working with would never do that stuff on their own. So you can set that all up using all your own assets now. You're in complete control of that. So now, as their San Diego, I'm happy to start running some lead gen campaigns for these businesses, because I can control everything up until the point where it's like, hey, look, business owner, you got to do something with them now. But I can control all of that now without having to mess with their systems, without having to do anything with their web developer and play with their website or anything like that. I can just be like, hey, look, you're a restaurant and you want some birthday campaign action? Sweet. I'm going to turn it on for you starting tomorrow. It's this much per month, right? And I'll be able to show, because it's my lead capture forms. It's my smart number. Everything that's on there will be my asset to be able to control. So the other way, and this is the big exciting version of it, Dustin. And so, I will be rolling this out soon with Air San Diego. You'll see, but is you completely set up your own thing. So let me explain this. So Air San Diego will very soon have our own like VIP club, right? And the VIP club will be my text, right? It's going to be a Their San Diego smart number. And so you message me to get on the Their San Diego list. So I can build a big list fast. I'll build a huge list fast. And now I can text those people directly, and I could text them with offers that any of my customers are paying me to text my list, right? So now I'm going to have the asset of 20,000 phone numbers here in San Diego like that. And so instead of having to go and set up all of these individual campaigns for all of my small businesses, I can just say, hey, look, it's $297 for me to include your offer in my, Friday happy hour text blast, right? And that Friday happy hour text blast, again, because of HighLevel, I have so much that I can do with that. So let me just give you an example, Dustin. I send out a text that says, hey, your Friday happy hour specials are available. Click this link to get them. My customer clicks that link. They go to a Their San Diego page where I've got all these happy hour specials listed with great pictures and who it's from and what the deal is and all that type of stuff. And then each one of those has a response mechanism. And that response mechanism is completely trackable by me and could be set up for each individual customer that paid me to be in that. So now I can set up some really smart stuff. So Dustin, if you paid me to have your restaurant listed, listing number 2 on the happy hours is going to be your restaurant, and it's going to have a smart number. And it's going to say, text this number to get this special. So now, Dustin, I'm building your list off of my list based on the demand for your offer, but I'm getting paid whether or not your offer stinks or not, because you have to pay me just to get exposure on my Friday afternoon specials. And then everybody that texts or anything to claim that offer is now going onto your list that's completely controlled by me, by the way. And I'm able to show all the results from that, and I'm able to run automated follow-up campaigns specific to your business because they texted your number, but 100% under my control. So now the margins that come from that service of me, instead of setting up individual campaigns for everybody, I have my own 20,000 person list, and I blast that and use that as the centralized thing to funnel all kinds of attention to those individual businesses, or do a combination of the two. The margins on that go through the roof, and the ease of execution is crazy. And now I own the asset completely, right? Does that make sense?
I have a question about what you just said.
Yeah.
So you have a list, you have a page of offers. Do you limit the number of offers per page, number one? And number two, do you charge restaurants a premium to get at the top of that list?
Yes and yes. Absolutely.
Cool.
Yes and yes. If there's one thing I learned, so when I was in Silicon Valley, Robert Jackson Jr., one of my little it's fun for me to look back on my path of all the crazy things I've done. But one of the things that I did, because I've always loved the media model. I've always loved the media business. I've always been attracted to it. It's always seemed like alchemy to me. It's like, if I publish a 150-page magazine, I can just publish 151 pages and add another $50,000 in revenue to that magazine because some, fashion brand will pay me $50,000 for a full page ad. Like, it's just, it's crazy alchemy, right? So I went to work for the #1 alternative newspaper in San Francisco for about 4 months, just so I could learn how the business works, how they make money. So I went and did classified sales at the #1 alternative newspaper in San Francisco for 4 months, just so I could see how it all worked. And it was awesome. I loved it. I loved the experience. But what it taught me was, it's all this just made up urgency and scarcity. And theirs they have some built-in real urgency and scarcity, because when you're printing something, it's going to print. So if your ad isn't in there before we go to print, hey, sorry, it went to print. But I have the same built-in urgency in my stuff, because I can say, hey, look, my St. Patrick's Day special blast is going out on the 14th of March. After that, it's gone. It's out the door. So you're either going to be in that blast or not. And by the way, that blast will only have 10 participants in it. I'm not going to do more than that. I'm not going to bombard my customers with a bunch of junk. And if you want to be #1 instead of number 10, it's this much, and number 10 is this much. So it's all alchemy. It's all creating this urgency, scarcity around bits and bytes, but it's real, and it's super powerful.
Doesn't it feel good to know that you can just create your own money, just like people can create their own people?
Yes. It's the coolest thing in the world. So Dustin, I hope that all that makes sense. And fire away if you want to chat. Any questions, go for it.
Yeah, so all that made sense. Quick follow-up question, which you kind of answered this, I think. So you don't necessarily have set package services, right? You kind of
No, I absolutely do have set package services.
Okay. So how many package services do you have?
You're talking about for there, San Diego?
Correct.
I have 9 or 10. I'm trying to think, 9 or 10. So I've got them broken out into content services, story services is what I call them. So that's where, you've got an article on my site and we're promoting it, guaranteeing traffic. And then I've got social, and then I've got newsletter. And so, and each of those has packages, 3 tiers of packages.
Okay, that helps. I've been trying desperately to fit it into 3 packages, and I was thinking, how the heck is he doing this?
Yeah, no.
So that makes a little more sense.
I've got them broken down by category like that, and then I'll have them broken down further here as I roll out these new services.
Okay, cool. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dave asks, are those all related to restaurants? No. So because I have my own media property, it's super easy for me to be cross markets. Okay. I would never recommend one, that as an agency, you are cross markets ever. But because I have an asset, it's really easy for me to create a blog post for a restaurant or a blog post for a whatever, a gym. Like it's the same thing. So, Derek, do I have those laid out to see how it's broken down? Yeah, I do. Yes, they're all up on a page. It's got, packages, price points. Here's exactly what's included. 10,000 views, 15,000 views, 25,000 views, that type of thing. Mike says your Kutenda Attract package included local and national directory listings. Did you do manual directory submissions, and how many? Or did you use a service like Yext with websites as a service package where we provide directory listings as a service to our package? It would appear that the service company's phone number becomes the smart number. We assign the website from Twilio. Okay, so the first part of that, Mike, we definitely use a submission service. And I honestly can't remember which one or how many or any of that type of stuff at this point. I really can't. But we absolutely use the service just to make it as scalable and easy on us as possible. With websites as a service packages where we provide directory listings as part of our service, it would appear that the service company's phone number becomes the smart number. We assign the website from Twilio. That's correct. Yes, Mike. Yes. So, and here's how you handle that is, look, we're going to put this smart number on there, right, on your website. And when we, submit, the website to places and stuff like that, we're going to use that number for tracking purposes. But you don't have to change your numbers that you have anywhere. Like if you've got business cards that you've already got your original number on there, if you've got a Yellow Pages listing, whatever the heck it is that already has that number on it, that's totally fine. When people come to your website, they're going to see a different number to call, but that's okay. Either number is going to work. It's just that the number that we're using is going to get tracked, and have these all these other powerful services to it, not just tracking. So eventually, if they're smart, the next time they print business cards and all that type of stuff, they'll use the smart number because it's going to be so much more powerful than a normal number. Including Yext through HighLevel is $30 a month for our cost, charging my plumber clients $97 a month for my website as a service. Seems like our margin is getting squeezed too tightly. What do you think? Yeah, depending on what other services, whatever service plans you're going to offer. If you're telling me, hey, I'm going to offer this $97 a month service, and it's got $30 a month included, I would do that as an upsell. I wouldn't include that. I would include a one-time submission or whatever to the directories, but I wouldn't do a $30 a month to Yext for that one client. I would do that as an upsell service. Good questions, gang. I love it. Mike says, do directory submissions as part of websites as a service qualify to be lead generation? I think of it more as like an SEO service. But yeah, I think of it more of as like an SEO service. I don't know. What do other people think? Curious. Do you think as directory submission is more like a SEO type of thing? That's the way I think about it. Yeah. Yeah. So Mike says, is the chat agent in the missed call text back service typically someone different than the person being called? So the chat agent and the text. No. So let me just make sure I understand, Mike. You could, if you were setting up the most simple version of this for a customer, and let's just say that the entire company just had one smart number, right? Then the response back could be from whoever at that company you want it to be. And you could just set up just like a dummy account, which is what a lot of people do, is they just set up a dummy account, that's, Jimmy. And Jimmy is the head of customer support at such and such plumber. And so that text back would be from Jimmy saying, hey, I'm the head of support over here. Sorry we missed your call, right? Even if Jimmy doesn't exist, just so you have like a third person so that everybody in the company knows, hey, if Jimmy is having a conversation, it came in this way, like just to keep it clear. But if you set up smart numbers for every individual in the company, so say there's 10 employees and they each got a smart number, then you could route those, and there's a number of different things that you can do here, but you could route chats and messages and stuff to specific people so that the response comes from them. You could round robin who it goes to. You can do a huge variety of things inside of HighLevel with that capability. So Richard says, what's a good chat software that you recommend? For example, on ClickFunnels to have a live chat support. I think Drift is good. I think Drift, Richard, is good. And it's, it's meant to be a sales tool, not just a chat. So some of those chat tools are more focused on just being like a support tool. And Drift is meant to be a sales tool. So I think, I know for what you're talking about, I would recommend Drift. I think it's a good one. What other questions? Any other questions, gang? We're at 1 hour, so I check in. Mike says, so the person too busy to take the call and misses it is typically not the chat agent? No, I think so. I think we're getting our wires crossed a little bit, Mike. So if I have, again, so let's say it's Billy Bob's plumbing service, okay, and we have one smart number associated with that company, and so somebody calls Billy Bob's and doesn't get an answer, the chat response could come from any name that you want it to come from. It could be a real person at that company. You could make up a fake person at that company. I mean, you can do whatever the heck you want. But when they're calling Billy Bob's Plumbing, they're not calling a person, right? They're calling the plumbing company. So the chat response could come from anybody, and most likely it's not going to come from Billy Bob himself. Although if you wanted, hey, it's Billy Bob, missed your call, sorry, then you could do that. But it really doesn't matter, I don't think, who it comes from, right? If you're setting up numbers specifically for individuals. So let's say it's a real estate brokerage that is your client. Well, a real estate brokerage, every one of those people at that real estate brokerage is going to want to have their own number. And, you know, if a lead is trying to get a hold of them, then yeah, I want the response to come from me. That's my real estate lead, right? So in that particular case, then yes, you could have it come from that individual person. So the way that you would do that is when the chat comes in, if HighLevel identifies it as a current lead, then you can route it to that person's campaign to respond saying, sorry, I missed your call. If it comes in and it's not anybody's lead yet, you could have HighLevel round robin it to all the agents and say, this lead comes in, it goes to this person. Then the next lead comes in, it goes to the next person. The next one comes in, it goes to the next person. And the responses could come from those individual people so that now they're building the relationship with that new lead. Okay, does that make sense? It's super powerful. So you can do, okay, cool. Yeah, you can do a number of really cool things with it. And honestly, the whole smart number thing, I've only touched on it because I wanted to keep it simple. I don't want to overcomplicate this for people because the simple plans are the ones that you guys get when you start selling. If you want to dive into the whole Twilio capabilities plus HighLevel capabilities combined together, it's crazy powerful, the stuff that you can offer your customers around those smart numbers. I mean, call recording, lead generation with whisper technique, round robins, gosh, you can do, robust call tracking. You can do all kinds of stuff through those numbers. It's really powerful. Don says, I have a weight control info product with 12 chapters. Should I use 2 of the chapters for a free tripwire for $1 on another note, or for $1? On another note, what email autoresponder is your newsletter in? Cool. So Don, I have a weight control info product with 12 chapters. I would use the 2 chapters as free, Don. Use that as your lead magnet, and then have that sell to the actual 12 chapter full ebook thing. So I would just use that as your free lead magnet. And then what email autoresponder is my newsletter in? So for Digital Marketing Lab, I use Drip. And for Leverage, I use ConvertKit. And they're both awesome. The only reason I moved away, or I have been using ConvertKit as a second service instead of just using Drip, is that Drip is moving away from having non-e-commerce businesses as customers. They really want to just be narrowly focused on the e-commerce space. And ConvertKit is actually pretty narrowly focused on the information product space. So I've got both of them set up. They're both amazing. Drip is absolutely the more powerful one, but much more complex too. Whereas ConvertKit is everything you need and simple. Oh, and sorry, Don, I also should say, I'm sorry, I didn't think this. My their San Diego newsletter is MailChimp. So if I'm trying to put together like a graphical, pretty newsletter, it's got lots of images and all that type of stuff, that's through MailChimp. Thanks, Don. I appreciate it. Cool. Any other questions, gang? Any other questions? Let me know. Kathleen, I will respond to you after this call. I'll go through. Yeah, Richard, go for it.
Hey, what's up, Mike? How you doing?
Good. How you doing, man?
Great, man. A long time. Yeah, so my question is, okay, let's say you're sending someone to a landing page that has an opt-in form, and then after the opt-in, there's like an order form. Mm-hmm. Are you gonna do like a purchase conversion campaign? You're gonna do a lead campaign? Like, what in your experience gets more people on Facebook for giving you leads and then actually purchasing what you're trying to sell?
I would do both and test. To be honest with you, I've had mixed results with that, and I usually do not. I pretty much never run just one or the other. I do both.
Okay. If you had to pick one to just start, which one would you try?
I would do the one that's most aligned with what you're trying to get. So if you're trying to get a sale, I would do it for purchase.
Purchase? Okay. Yep. Cool. It seems simple enough. I just
yeah,
because I know for like, for e-com stuff, they typically drive just purchase.
Yeah.
But I've always been a little bit like confused on when you kind of have both objectives, you're trying to get leads and a purchase, like what they typically run.
Yeah, if the ultimate objective is a purchase though, and what you're advertising is a sale, so buy this thing, and it's just that the first step is to capture their information, then I would still do purchase, because somebody who's coming to purchase is going to go through that step, right? So I would still go purchase if that's your intent. And I think that Facebook's getting better and better and better, right? At, hey, these people are buyers, so we're going to show your ad to buyers.
Right, that makes sense. Perfect. Cool, man. That's it.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Gregory says, do I have a process that I go through to name my programs and reports? Not really, Gregory, not really a process. Patrick says, do I post these somewhere? Yes, I'm going to be posting them up all on my YouTube channel. There's one up there right now, but I have it unpublished. So unless you actually went to the link that I mailed out as a replay, you won't see it. But I'm gonna gussy them up a little bit and unpublish them. I was trying to get this camera work so I can have better video quality up there. Robert Jackson Jr., what lessons did you take from The Last Dance? I have not watched it yet. I got to do it. I've heard it's impressive though. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, anything to get into the mind of somebody like that is fascinating to me. Tim says, where in all the training is IG analytics? Like, what's the best way to look at info coming in, used for effective decisions for past? It's probably in. I don't know that I've covered that much, Tim, at all. If anything, it's probably an Instagram marketing quick start, but I don't know if it's in there. Honestly, it's an interesting question. I just have not done much with it. But that data is in there now, right? I mean, for everything. If you have a business account, yeah, Robert Jackson Jr. says later.com has a lot of IG analytics stuff for sure. Yeah, I mean, if you have a business Instagram account, there's a lot of data now available to you. So, but I don't think I've really put together any training on that. You bet. Mike Chapman says, is the Instagram prospecting platform you recently efficient at reaching specific service niche business owners? Yes. Yeah, Mike, it's all about, it's all about targeting specific accounts at a time. So whoever you choose to target. So as long as they're on Instagram, then it's going to be very direct at them. And if you want to give me, like, Mike, if you want to tell me like an example of a niche, and I can give you an example of how you go about it. HVAC. Okay. So HVAC, I would get on Instagram in your market and poke around and look at what companies are on there and stuff like that. That might be one of the harder ones. I don't know. Honestly, I have not even really looked. I can pull up though. Let's just do this real quick. I know you can't see my screen, but I'm just going to do a quick search on HVAC So what it does pull up is, plumbing services, and there's some, definitely some HVAC companies and stuff like that. There's actually a hashtag HVAC life. I don't know if that's the HVAC we're thinking of or something else, but if I do a hashtag for HVAC, there's HVAC memes. And my phone, unfortunately, is plugged in as the camera, so I can't get on my iPhone, which is really where I would look. But I would jump in there. Hey, welcome, Cynthia. I would jump into into those and look around and see what kind of visibility or what kind of presence there is in terms of the HVAC companies and AC Repair, Patrick, and stuff like that on there. But if they're on there, it's a very direct way of approaching them. So. Cynthia, you just joined us. Did you have any questions? Since we're an hour and 15 into it, we're probably close to wrapping it up because most of the questions have slowed down. Do you have any specific questions I can help you with? While you're thinking about that, I want to recommend to everybody, get this book. It's fantastic. So a few of us that have been talking about it the last couple of days, Traffic Secrets from Russell Brunson. Nice hardbound book. He's got that free plus shipping funnel. It's a really, really good book. He's done such a nice job of just like, even though it's a thick book, but all the concepts in here are concise, and he's done a nice job of making everything like a simple framework with, he does his little stick figure drawings and stuff like that. It's one you want on your bookshelf for sure. So recommend that. See here. Just think of anything else that jumped out at me. And in the Leverage Facebook group, go in there, and I shared this app that you can get on your phone for turning your phone into a webcam. And unfortunately, I haven't figured out how to get it to work with Zoom in particular here, but I'm sure I will. But it allows you to use that much higher quality camera on your phone as your webcam for doing stuff like this. And that's that could be super useful for many of you if you're doing like Facebook Lives and things like that. Dustin says, what channels did you use to accomplish fast growth for their San Diego? No, just Facebook ads, Dustin. Just promoting my content on Facebook. That's it. Just creating content and boosting it on Facebook. TSD says, and for sales, Dustin, yeah, Facebook, Instagram, that's pretty much it. And then, PR firms have become a very, very good channel for me because they come to me for media coverage for their clients. So I know they're getting paid, right? So I can say to them, hey, if your client wants more visibility, do this. If any of your clients want more visibility, here's packages we have for you, right? So yeah. But Dustin, I have done zero, no, like the BNIs, the chambers, none of that stuff. No way. And the reason why I say no way is just that it is much more time efficient to create good content and promote it and let people come to you. And way more. Exactly, Patrick. Let's see here. Tim says TSE website is on WordPress template. If so, which one? Yes, I am happy with it. Which one? I cannot tell you for the life of me, but I can get it. I can get it for you. But I can't tell you off the top of my head. David Cartwright says, Mike, I keep coming back to doing the local media. Any suggestions? Well, David, what do you mean by any suggestions? I love the local media model. If I could convince every single one of you to do it, I would. It's beyond to me. It's beyond me that more people aren't doing it. It's crazy to me. I would tell every single one of you to do it, and I would tell you, You don't have to do the full thing like I did. Just start an email newsletter, start an Instagram account. Like, I mean, super, super simple, and it will dramatically change everything about your business. It really will.
I think really what I've been looking at is just a little push from somebody.
I feel like all I do is push people on that. I'm like, gosh, why isn't everybody doing this? Do it. It's a game changer. I mean, I could stand up on my soapbox on this forever, but let's just put the benefits into two massive major categories. One, you're out there with crazy visibility in your market every day because you have a brand, you have a media property, you have content that people are tuning into. That is by far and away the number one way to sell in today's world. So that right there is one massive, massive benefit, which will completely change how you go about business. The second major benefit, which is the one that people don't get as much the power of it until they actually experience it, but all of the services that you're offering now can be on your asset. And the impact of that, again, is so hard, I think, for people to fully grasp. But that impact, break it down into two categories itself. One impact is to deliver all the services, it becomes infinitely easier because I'm just doing stuff on my asset that I control. So if you pay me, David, because your business wants more exposure, and my product is, okay, I'll put a banner ad on the top of my site. It's so easy for me to offer that, right? Okay, I'll just throw the banner ad up there, and I'm going to charge you, $497 for it or whatever. Then the other, so it becomes efficient, right? Your service delivery becomes efficient, very high margin. The other aspect of that is it's all building my asset. Every time a customer pays for something with me in my business, my asset gets more valuable. Because guess what? If you come to me, David, and you say, hey, I want more visibility for my business, and I go, great, I'm going to put together this amazing content package for you. But that content package is on their San Diego. The advertising budget associated with that is promoting their San Diego. It's promoting your content on my site. So you're paying to advertise my site. Versus if I'm in the agency business, I'm building all of my customers' individual assets. So every time they pay to do something, it's their asset. My asset doesn't get any better other than if I'm able to build a really scalable service operation. That's the only way my asset's going to get any more valuable. But in the media model, the reason why all those media properties around the world are so valuable is because 70% of every dollar that came in advertising went to distribution. It just got their brand out to more and more and more and more people over the years so that their property just got more and more and more valuable. So you combine all those benefits and it's just like, man, if to me personally, if you're doing it any other way, you're just, for whatever reason, deciding to make things harder for yourself. But I can't twist people's arms and make them do it. So I hope that helps helps you, David. Obviously, I'd love to see you do it. Let's see here. Mike says, your Instagram prospecting method founded on providing good, relevant content? No, not at all, Mike. It's not about creating content at all. Fraser just says, would you build your local media site on HighLevel starting now or still on WordPress? No, still on WordPress for sure. HighLevel is not a media site for sure. I would have all of my sales pages and all of my sales process and a whole bunch of my service delivery would happen through HighLevel. But the site itself, like if that's what you're referring to, would be WordPress still. Derek says, would you be willing to do a specific video or webinar on your LMLA and how you go about it? Yeah, for sure. It's so funny. I haven't promoted Local Media Launch Accelerator now in probably 18 months. Just because I promoted it for a while. A bunch of people took me up on it, but a bunch of people didn't. And I was just kind of like, I'm just going to go get to work on my media property. So that's what I ended up doing. But yeah, no, I'm happy to. To me, it's just such a no-brainer. Patrick, yes. Yeah, anybody who bought Local Media Launch Accelerator, no matter when you bought it, it's still perfectly relevant, which is one of the other reasons why I love that business. Think about it, gang. The media business has been the media business forever. Yeah, Dustin, thank you. The media business has been the media business forever. The changes to it have been so minor, it's crazy. And really, the only major change has been the internet, right? But that change has already happened, right? It's already happened. So you guys understand the internet, and you understand you're building an online media instead of a print media. But the business is so simple. I mean, once it's up and running, it's just, I have eyeballs and I will sell you these eyeballs. Versus when you're doing services like agency services, consulting services, any of that type of stuff, it's all about keeping up with the latest and greatest, right? It's all about having to keep up with the latest knowledge, the latest thing, all that type of stuff. The media business is stupid simple. I could barely change a thing about that business for the next few years, and it would operate the exact same way. Everything that I published in that course initially, I'm doing the exact same thing today. I mean, my processes have gotten more refined over time. I'm using the exact same email tools. I'm using the exact same WordPress site and theme. I'm using the exact same everything. Like nothing's changed. So that's one of the things I got to tell you. One of the I have learned over time, painfully, that my personality is I love to learn all the time. I love new, exciting things all the time, right? That's my personality. And that's why the tech industry was exciting to me, is because it's all about the latest, newest technology that got developed, right? There is an addiction to that can really screw you up in your business that you need to be smart about, okay? So if you have that same personality, you could be addicted to all of the newness in the digital marketing world. Okay, and that can totally screw up your business, because what you think you have to do and what you want to do, whether you admit it or not, is you want to get that next thing and study what's the coolest next innovation and all this type of stuff. And there was one thing I learned in my IT services business, okay, at Everon, that was really important to us being successful. And that was, my clients, small businesses, do not need to be cutting edge at anything. Okay, so you don't need to be cutting edge at anything. No small business needs to be cutting edge at IT. They don't need anything that's cutting edge. They need the things that are proven, that are stable, and have become cost efficient and reliable. So that means I needed to deliver to them like the stuff that was like at 75% of cutting edge, maybe. It's the same thing for digital marketing, guys. If you're addicted to what's the new latest thing that you could do with Facebook and all that type of stuff, you're screwing yourself, because you think that you have to stay cutting edge all the time, and you're spinning your wheels and spending all your time doing that, when the reality is your small businesses just don't have a freaking text list or an email list. And that stuff's been around forever now. Just build them a text list and an email list, and you will literally change their business overnight and forever. It doesn't have to be the latest, greatest thing. So if you would just pick a handful of fundamental things and just drive that stuff home, it's not nearly as sexy. But then you know what? When you do that, when you decide that your business is just about these few things and I'm going to drive them home, guess what? Your business becomes then all about just selling, which is what I said earlier. To small businesses is a sales business. Okay? You've got to be selling all the time to grow your business. Your services just need to be simple enough and stable enough and effective enough that they will keep your customers on board. They don't have to be rocket science. They don't have to be revolutionary. They don't have to be cutting edge. In fact, they can't be all of those things. If you're going to actually scale them, they can't be all those things. It's impossible. You'll spend all of your time trying to figure out the cutting edge stuff. You won't be selling, which is what I know many of you have done, right? Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that if you look back at your calendar over the last 2 years and you said, if I tracked all of my time, how much of that time was spent selling versus learning, fiddling with something, screwing around with the latest this or that, right? If you can't tell me that 75% of your time was selling, then you've got a broken model. You do. You will almost never make it work at scale. You've got to sell. Patrick's like, I'm stabbing him in the knife with a spoon. Stabbing him in the heart with a spoon, I mean. Yeah, David, absolutely. Been in sales for 25 years and you got hung up on the cutting edge stuff. Whereas the reality, David, with how you know how to sell, if all you did was offer the smart number service and then had an upsell to make that smart number service a smart number service turbo with all these other features, and all you did was go out and sell like crazy, you'd be making a fortune with that, right? Nothing, you don't have to do anything more than that. Yeah, absolutely, Patrick. Robert Jackson Jr. says, does this you don't need cutting edge thingy include chatbots? So are you talking about chatbots as in like, chatbots as in like ManyChat, like the Facebook chat type of thing?
Yes. Yeah, that seems to be the new technology du jour. Maybe not du jour, du jour. But yeah, it's kind of new. A lot of people have embraced it. Most people have not.
Yeah, it's funny. I personally, I would not personally spend another minute on those. I'm not a fan at all. I think I shared something about chatbots once with my community quite a long time ago, and then like 2 weeks later, Facebook tightened all the rules about what you could do with it, and I was like, "Oh, that's done." I mean, capture people on SMS instead of a chatbot, and you're in a dramatically better situation. Now, can you present the Facebook Messenger chat widget as your entry point to capture email and phone number and all that type of stuff because so many people are used to the Facebook chat widget? Sure. But if you're telling me you're creating all these automated upsell, downsell bots and all that type of stuff for small businesses, I would say you are wasting time and energy. And sorry if that rained on anybody's parade. Yeah, Richard, I think that's a good point. Yeah, you can use it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not the marketing tool that people wanted it to be, because Facebook has restricted it, one, but two, it's again with small businesses, there's just no reason to try and build all this crazy cool complexity of all these automated things. And that's why I got to tell you again with the HighLevel thing, guys, I love HighLevel. And there are people in the HighLevel community now that what they're selling, and so just be very careful of this. I encourage you to go into the community and buy people's snapshots, get the cool website, get the pretty templates so that you don't have to design those from scratch, that type of thing. Get campaigns, get email campaigns, get text messaging campaigns. But then what they've taken to, and I get it because the sex appeal of selling an information product, I get it, is that they've turned it into, well, yeah, but it's not all those things. It's all those things working in this perfectly organized, automated system where every variable is automated to the moon and back and blah, 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 blah. I'm telling you right now, that is BS. It's BS. Businesses don't operate that way. They don't operate that way. And so can you automate some super smart aspects of the business? And should you? Yes. But good golly, you guys, I've been doing these automation, campaigns and follow-up sequences and stuff for years now. And Russell Brunson has been doing this for how long now and has built ClickFunnels to be probably $1 billion valuation company. And the way that he does it still outlined in this book, and the way he talks about it, if you listen to his podcast and stuff, is he's got automated sequences for like these first few steps of a funnel. Then after that, you go on his email broadcast list, which he creates content every day, emails it out every day manually, records a podcast and sends it out to you manually. So even with that, like this much of it is automated, and then all of this is still done manually, and there's people involved and all that type of stuff. Like it's just, no business is, I shouldn't say no, but almost no business is going to run with this idea of this perfect automation stuff. So just take everything on that when you're buying these high level snapshots, just take it all with a grain of salt. Okay. Don't get too carried away with it. James says, how long did it take to get enough viewers on your media site to make it profitable? I don't know how many views it was on my media site. When I had like 1,000 Instagram followers, I had like 5,000 Facebook page followers. That was when I really started selling. And, the business has, very, very, very little overhead now. It had more then because I didn't know what I was doing. So I just threw, money at it to solve problems. So it probably wasn't profitable for a while. But if I were to start it up today, I essentially have no overhead associated with the business. That's why, some of my major competitors here in San Diego shut down. San Diego Magazine shut down. San Diego Magazine's been in San Diego forever. And they shut down for this coronavirus thing. I'm not saying that they won't come back. They probably will. But the reason why is they had 40 people in an office in downtown San Diego. And I always wondered, how in the world, are you going to survive in this world as a 40-person company with an office in downtown San Diego as a little local magazine? Because I have no overhead. How are you going to be able to compete with me? And sure enough, they shut down and I'm still here. So keep your overhead low. It doesn't take much to be profitable. Patrick, yeah. There's a lot of that going on right now with Whitelabel. Unfortunately, with HighLevel. Unfortunately, the HighLevel is creating a little bit of their own mess with that because they've made it so easy to whitelabel the service. And Richard says, do you ever run page like campaigns at the beginning at a low budget to grow slowly? Oh, absolutely, Richard. That's essentially, page like. I did some of that, but not a ton. But I did do some of that with their San Diego for sure, but not a ton. For the most part, I just put out my content, my blog posts and stuff, and just promoted those. Dustin says, I've had businesses reach out to on Facebook and not quite to 1,000 likes yet. Just don't have packages to sell them yet. Yeah. Dustin, so I will share, and I'm happy to do this soon. I'll share all the packages I have and how I created them and how I sell them and all that type of stuff. And then we can talk about the new packages that I'm doing too. Cool. All right, gang, it's been 1 hour and 40. I think my brain is getting a little bit fried. I got to go get some food and some caffeine and all that good stuff. So I'm going to jump. We're going to have these calls every week. I thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for all the great questions and stuff and interaction. I love it. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Patrick. Yeah, you guys have a great rest of your week. Awesome. Yeah, awesome, Tim. Lots of great questions. Thank you, Dustin. Thank you, Robert Jackson Jr. For those of you in Growth Insiders, we got our call tomorrow. For those of you in Info Alchemy, got our call on Thursday. So You haven't. If you've had enough of me, you better get some rest because I'll be back at you tomorrow and Thursday. Thank you, David. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate you. Always appreciate time and attention. Thank you, Patrick. And we will see you on the next call. Okay, everybody. Have a great one. Take care. Thanks, you, Derek. Thank you, Derek.